You know, as the most woke empty house billionaire business advice guy who is also extremely good looking, let's just add that to the title. I mean, come on. I get asked all the time, Alex, how do you get so much done? How are you so productive? And this has been really hard for me to answer in the past because the God's honest truth is I'm just better than you. At birth, God selected me to be the most woke, empty house, billionaire business guy. He said, this guy is it. Everybody else, you're not. I'm like Tom Brady, and you're kind of like a version of Chunks from the Goonies, okay? So there's only so much we can do here. But the first step to getting a lot done and being super productive is honestly knowing, I'm just going to look for the angry comments below in the comment section. You should look for them. People get so triggered by those intros. But the first key to being productive is watching the rest of this video. If you don't have 5 minutes to invest right here, because you're watching all sorts of other random stuff on YouTube, that might be why you don't get a lot done. But in this video, I'm going to be answering the major questions I get, which is how long I work, how often I work, what is my work schedule like, how do I work throughout the day, how do I prioritize tasks, even when I space out my eating and sleep schedule to maximize the amount of work I get done, and how I go and break out how I educate myself as well. Because you guys always ask this on live streams, which again, I do every single week, and I share my best business tactics, but then I delete them when I'm down. You're only going to see those live streams if you're subscribed and you like this channel. YouTube probably won't show it to you, and it would be a huge shame if you missed those. So that's what we're going to dive into, and for lack of better words, I'm just going to dive straight into it. So first off, what are my results? Now, these aren't going to be your results because, like I said at the beginning of the video, Chunks Tom Brady, Chunks Tom Brady. But overall, if you can get 1/10 my results, I think you'd be pretty happy. So look, since the age of 23, I've never failed to make less than $1 million in a year. The past couple of years, I've taken my business past 8 figures a year. That's not profit, of course, but I've managed to scale my business past $10 million a year. And so I consider those to be decent results. I'm not the most successful entrepreneur, and frankly, there's people that do tons, billions of times better than I do. That being said, I do feel like I have a good level of competency when it comes to doing this. So let's just go over the basic questions. How many hours do I work a day? Some days I work 8. I usually work about 10. Sometimes I'll do 12 to 14. But you have to understand it's about getting a lot done in those hours. I'm not tooting my horn. Because of how I work, I can usually get more done in 4 hours than most people can get done in an entire week. That's covered in this video as well. I'm not going to cover the ways to focus or become more attentive or focus on something and do it for 4, 5, 6 hours straight. That's covered in that video. I'm not going to go into that right now. I just want to give you the routine. So let's just break this down by using one of my legendary circle pie graphs. Let me make sure that looks good. Okay, cool. I even managed to fit it in the camera view this time. I actually just filmed this video, and then I realized I didn't have my camera right now moved to the corner, so you couldn't see anything I drew. So yeah, I'm a really productive guy. But let's just get to the point at hand. This is 12 a.m. right here. And the first thing I want to stress is that you don't want to copy my routine. My routine is optimized by my sleep chronotype. I'm a lion. I'll leave a link at the end of this video to something that explains sleep chronotypes. Lion basically means that my best focus and attention and body is really optimized to waking up early in the morning, and that's when I get the most done. You're going to have to look at how you work. For example, Jeff Bezos is a bear. He doesn't really get to work till 10 a.m., 11 a.m. in the morning. That's unimaginable to me. So again, you need to look at how I look at this routine. You need to see the concepts and then copy them over to your life. You don't want to copy my routine. And the other thing I want to stress with this before anything else is that one of my big problems with self-help gurus online is they're trying to tell everybody that there's one way to live and there's one way to look at everything. That's completely false. There are so many CEOs that are worth $1 billion that work 6 to 8 hours a day. They go home at 5 o'clock. The CEO of Shopify goes home at 5 o'clock. He spends most of his time with his family. I work like this because I think it's fun. It's exciting to me. And that's one of the reasons why I put in so many hours. So first off, there's no one way to do anything. I would just look at the concepts because the concepts and the truths behind what I'm about to show you are mostly all right. Next, so many gurus, their entire brand is based on them just lying about who they are and trying to put forth this image of being superhuman. And I don't have to put forth the image. It's just brutally apparent when you look at me and in this channel. I don't even have to say that up front. But on the other hand, unlike other gurus, I'm just going to admit to you that I struggle with this. And as the week goes on, I do incur or what am I even saying? Burnout happens to me just like it happens to anybody else, and it gets harder and harder to match this routine as the week goes on. And so resting is very important as well. And I don't nail this every single day. This is what I strive for. And over the years, I've gotten better and better and closer to this every single day, and I'm pretty damn good at it now. It didn't happen all at once, and it takes time. So let's just get into it, and you can kind of see how I work and operate. So at 12 a.m., I'm obviously sleeping, but I'm going to pop up around 3 to 4 a.m. And the reason why I do that is, again, my sleep chronotype. You shouldn't be getting up at 3 to 4 a.m. It's probably not even great for me. I'm just ready to go and excited, so that's when I get up. And so perhaps the biggest thing you should take away is you want to do your hard task when you're best alert, or when you're at your best during the day. So for 3 to 4 a.m., I'm basically like Super Mario. You remember Super Mario 64, any of the games, when he gets a star and that music starts playing, he's running around screaming profanity like he's high on drugs, just killing turtles left and right. It's amazing. You remember that? I do, especially the profanity part. That totally happened in Super Mario 64. But what's going on in this period right here is this is when I'm in my star mode. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to save all my high creative, hard work tasks for this time period right here. And this is really good for me because my staff they're normal people. They get on at about 8 o'clock. And so no one can talk to me during this time frame. And so this is when I get my massive amount of work done. And so when you're trying to focus on your routine, you need to understand exactly when you're going to get your best work done and when you're most focused. Most people, it's going to be first thing in the morning. However, if you have a different sleep chronotype, or you work a little bit differently, it could be late at night. It just depends. What I suggest doing is you make sure that you set this time when you're away from your staff and no one can bug you. People should not be able to message or reach you in this time, and it should be perfectly acceptable for you to completely ignore anybody that messages you during this time frame. Okay? So that's where you can get the best results at. And so at this time, what I'm going to do is usually work till about 9 to 10. It's very important that you realize during this time frame right here, you're going to burn through your willpower chemicals very quickly. And so your ability to focus and do anything for the rest of the day is going to be a lot weaker. And you also need to take a break at this point. So at this time, from probably about 9 to 10, I'm going to take a 30-minute to an hour break. It just depends how fatigued I am. And so I'm usually going to go do a walk, or I'm going to go watch some CEO interviews or a documentary and just kind of sit down and relax. Usually it's going to be the walk. All right, this is when I'll usually go walk. I'll go grocery shopping. I'll do something that's very low mentally draining. So at about 11 o'clock, what I'm then going to do is this is when I really start checking in with my staff. This is when I get going. Of course, if there's anything that's going on here, or I'm managing people that are in other time zones, I'm going to talk to my staff a little bit in the 3 to 4 a.m. period, especially if what I'm working on heavily involves them. And my staff, most of the engineers get on around 5 a.m., so this works really well for me as well. So from 11 to, I would say, 1 p.m., I'm going to be doing staff-oriented things. I'm going to be working with the staff, I'm going to be training staff, I'm going to be coaching them, or I'm going to be talking to customers. This is the talky time period. And so this is when I deal with people, especially when it comes to like complicated big decision things, or with clients at high risk. This is when I'm also digging into their accounts. I'm making sure our customers are getting really good results. I'm talking to them, getting their feedback. I'm doing interviews with them. So this is a time period I'm probably going to do this from about 11 to 1. And then I'm probably going to take a 30-minute break at 1 to 1:30. Again, I've just kind of worn myself out, and you can see as the day gets going, you're able to work for less and less periods. You're able to take less chunks out of the day. So this period right here is only 2 hours, where this period right here is like 5 hours. Okay, and this is heavily coffee assisted. I'll leave that in there as well. So from 1:30 to, I'm going to say, about 3:30 to 4 p.m., this pie chart is really equally distributed by the time. This is just terrible. What I'm finally going to do is the low effort work. This is going to be, I man a lot of customer support right now at high risk because I want to know what the customers are thinking. I want to know what they're doing. This is when I'm going to be working with my staff even more. And this is when I'm going to be doing manual things like looking at our ads, optimizing our ads and how they're working. Or like today, I'm going to be reviewing my team's sales calls and saying what's wrong with that, how you can do better, how we can improve there. I'm going to be going and having those really basic low effort conversations with contractors. Just, hey, this is what we need to get done. This is what needs to be happening right here. This is the plans we're going to be working on. And I'm also going to be working a lot more, again, with customers. Most of my time frame from 11 to 4 p.m. is just working and talking to customers, because the most important thing in the business is knowing your customer and satisfying them. How are you going to satisfy someone if you don't talk to them? So I'm always manning customer support and working with our top tier clients and talking to our big clients and just getting their feedback in this time frame. And this is kind of low effort work that is kind of repetitive and manual. The reason why I have this work during this time is because it's not creative focused. It's not going to take my high levels of energy and thought. It's just going to take me kind of just doing the manual labor and going through the motions right here. Then at about 3 to 4 p.m., this is very important. This is when I eat. Now, sometimes I get really hungry and I'll eat at like noon or something, but that's usually a big sign I'm going to have a bad day. Because when you eat, you get sleepy, you get tired, you get fatigued, especially when you do intermittent fasting. It's just what's going to happen. And I feel for people that eat breakfast and eat throughout the entire day. You are functionally, you're at chimpanzee level functionality for the entire day. When you're eating, your body is digesting. It's the most energy consuming thing your body does, or at least in the top 3. Last I checked my science notes, that's the case right there. So you want to put off your eating as long as you can. Particularly using caffeine during this time period right here keeps you empty, keeps you clean, keeps you focused. At this time period, I'm going to eat my first meal, and then I'm going to go work out. Okay, so from about 4 to this period right here, I'm going to go work out. And I'm going to save these things for the end of the day because they're very draining. Eating, working out, they drain your energy. They're not mentally taxing. You can do them with almost zero thought, but they do drain your energy. And if you're doing these things before this, at least for me, it's really going to negatively affect you. A lot of people work out first thing in the morning to build up energy. I totally get that. If that works better for you, do that. This is what works best for me. And frankly, working out is not my main priority. I'm not trying to put my best time and focus into it during the day. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to eat, I'm going to work out, and I'm going to come back from that workout. It's just a 30, 35-minute workout max. Okay, I'm doing very quick workouts. Frankly, you don't even need to work out that long to put on muscle and get lean. So then I'm coming back and have my second meal, and it's very important when you are eating to eat clean. I'll get into my diet in a later video, but you got to get your macros right. So my diet is 50 to 60% carbs, then 20 to 25% protein, and then 20% fat. And these can swing either way. And I really like this because this keeps me mentally clean. My diet is just oatmeal, spinach, olive oil, and lean chicken. That's it. I get my nutrition and things from like green juicing and whatnot, but is this the best diet for health in the world? No, but it keeps me very focused and very clean. And I'll get into that in a later video. And so that's what I'm going to eat during that time period. Then when I'm done, I'll be usually wrapping up and I'll be done ski around 4 to 5 p.m. And just notice how these time periods, they can shift a little bit. It just depends on how the day's going. Some days I don't need to put in 12 hours. Most days it's usually about 8 to 10. So this is just a really heavy day right here. 4 to 5 p.m., what I'm going to do during this time period is I'm usually going to watch CEO interviews on YouTube or find a really good documentary, or I'm going to put in an audiobook and go for a really long walk. That's usually the plan at this time. It just depends how I'm feeling. I really prefer right now, education-wise, CEO interviews on YouTube. I feel after you've read 200 business books, you've hit probably all the good ones. Most business books are just people repeating themselves over and over and over again. I find an hour-long interview with a CEO over a certain topic is way more beneficial. So that's what I'm going to do. And then what I'm going to usually do is about 7:30 to 8, I'm going to be falling asleep. And then I sleep for about 6 to 7 hours, and then I reset. I don't really sleep for 8 hours. A lot of people are like, sleep for 8 hours. I don't need it. Do I seem like I need to sleep more right now? Okay, so that's going to be the overall routine. That's what I follow every single day. What I suggest you do right here is don't go and try and copy the routine. Copy the thought process by timing your eating, your sleep periods, and when you do your best work and when you do your manual labor, your kind of dumb work. You also need to think about how you structure things like working out and your education periods. You don't want to be learning in the middle of the day because that's mentally taxing. You don't want to be working out in the middle of the day because that's mentally taxing. I'd either say do it at the beginning of the day or the end of the day. One thing I'll also throw in there is I'll try to meditate during this time frame, and I'll occasionally do bonus things like hop in my hyperbaric chamber or do like some red light therapy or something like that. But those are just bonus things that aren't really important at all. And that, guys, is what I do every day. So let me know in the comments section if you find this useful. At the end of this video, there's actually some videos that I think are also really helpful to this, which is first off, why I practice pretty extreme minimalism. This helps me focus and get mass amounts done. It's a lot easier to work 10 to 12 hours a day when you don't have anything to distract you. Minimalism is key there. Also, there's a video on how to do a dopamine detox. This is absolutely key as well. In fact, if you go minimalistic without knowing how to dopamine detox, you're actually going to fry your brain. That's what happened to me for a good period of time. And then there's also a video that shows how I scaled my business to 8 figures with YouTube ads. So if you actually want to see the actual business tactics that you apply once you've mastered these things, that's there as well. Again, guys, be sure to like and subscribe because I do live streams every single weekend. And if you're not liked and subscribed, the chance of you getting notified are actually pretty small. And I give away my best tactics. I answer all your questions. And like last weekend, I actually went inside my ad account, showed the ads I was doing. It's pretty lethal stuff. And I delete the videos as soon as they're down because it's actually not great for the algorithm. But if you want to see that, you need to be liked and subscribed. So this is Becker, and that's it.